Some people can't just watch a film, they watch it. Then they read the reviews and the comments. Then they compare those reviews to their own reaction. Then they scroll through 3 threads about what the ending really meant. And somewhere around midnight, they're lying awake wondering if they missed something everyone else caught. Fear of missing out, aka FOMO, is taxing on their energy. It wasn't a bad evening, they enjoyed it. But their brain won't let enjoyment be the final answer. If that's you, if every shared cultural moment feels like something you need to process, decode, and have a position on, there's a reason it's so tiring. And it has nothing to do with how smart or engaged you are. You probably do this with more than films. A new series drops, and within hours your feed is full of takes. Hot takes, cold takes, counter takes. And your brain, without being asked, starts drafting its own. Not because you want to post it, just because it feels like you're supposed to have one. Or someone at work mentions a documentary everyone's watching and you haven't seen it yet. And instead of thinking, I'll get to it, your brain files it under things I'm behind on. Another item on a list that never gets shorter. You do it with music too. A song comes on and you're not just listening. You're evaluating, placing it in context, deciding whether you like it for the right reasons. As if enjoyment needs a justification. And the strangest part, you know this is exhausting. You know other people just watch things, enjoy things, move on. But for you, every cultural moment feels like a test you didn't study for. So here's what I want to look at today. Why does thinking feel like a performance? And why does that performance leave you running on empty, even when you started out doing something that was supposed to be fun? Because somewhere along the way, relaxing stopped being relaxing. The things you do to switch off, watching something, listening to something, reading something, they've quietly turned into more cognitive work because of the fear of missing out, aka FOMO. And your brain, already running at full volume, doesn't know the difference between winding down and gearing up for another round. Here's the part most people miss. Overthinking isn't just something that happens inside your head. It's something the world around you actively encourages. Think about how pop culture works now. A show airs and within minutes there are reaction videos, theory threads, breakdown posts, ranking lists. Engagement isn't measured by whether you enjoyed something. It's measured by how much you can say about it, how quickly, how cleverly. That is a ritual. It has a structure, a timeline, a social reward system. You participate. You get validation. You stay quiet. You feel left out. And for someone whose brain already scans for patterns and digs for meaning in everything, this cycle is almost impossible to resist. Jenny Odell, a writer and artist at Stanford, put it this way in her book, How to Do Nothing. She argues that attention itself has become something we spend rather than something we choose. That the constant pull toward engaging, reacting, and having an opinion isn't just a habit, it's an economy. And you're paying with the very thing you need most, the ability to simply be present with an experience without turning it into content. That framing matters here. Because when your attention is always being pulled toward analysis, toward commentary, toward engaging with the discourse, you're not resting, even when you think you are. And here's what makes this worse for your specific brain. Research into social comparison shows that when you encounter other people's analysis, your brain automatically benchmarks your own thinking against theirs. Did I notice that? Should I have caught that? Is my reading of this good enough? A 2024 study in Frontiers in Psychology found that this kind of upward comparison on social media is directly linked to emotional exhaustion, not just mild tiredness, actual cognitive fatigue. That comparison loop is the same one that runs when you replay conversations or second-guess decisions at work. It's the overthinking pattern wearing a different outfit. And because it's wrapped in culture, wrapped in just enjoying a show or just keeping up with what's happening, you don't recognize it as the drain it actually is. Your brain doesn't distinguish between productive thinking and performative thinking. It fires up the same evaluation and pattern recognition pathways, whether you're solving a real problem or scrolling through someone else's hot take at 11 p.m. The evening you set aside to unwind has become another shift of mental processing, just dressed up as entertainment. So what can you actually do with this? I'm not telling you to stop engaging with social media and entertainment culture. That's not the point. But there are 3 shifts that change how it lands. First, reset, and this is the one that matters most. Start noticing when you're thinking for yourself versus when you're performing thinking for an invisible audience. Psychologists draw a clear line between reflection and rumination. Reflection has an end point. You think something through, you reach a conclusion, you move on. Rumination doesn't. It loops, it replays, it evaluates without arriving anywhere. And rumination doesn't just feel unproductive, it actually impairs your ability to solve problems. Studies on repetitive negative thinking have found that people who ruminate perform worse on problem-solving tasks than people who simply distract themselves. The thinking that feels like effort is actively working against you. The cultural version of this is the same pattern. There is a real difference between genuinely turning something over in your mind because it interests you and analysing it because you feel like you should have something to say. One feeds you, the other drains you. And once you can see the difference in the moment, you can stop the second one before it takes root. Second, reset. Give your brain a container. After you watch something, write down your reaction. Not a review, not an analysis. Just what you noticed, what you felt, what stayed with you. Then stop. Don't open the thread. Don't check the discourse. There's good evidence behind this. James Pennebaker, a psychologist at the University of Texas, spent decades studying what he called expressive writing. He found that putting your thoughts into words, even briefly, reduces the cognitive load of carrying them. It works because your brain stops treating the unprocessed thought as an open task. You write it down, and something closes. The difference this makes is real. You give your brain a finish line instead of a loop. Third, reset. Let yourself enjoy something without fully understanding it. Fred Bryant, a psychologist at Loyola University, Chicago, has studied what he calls savoring. It's the capacity to attend to a positive experience without immediately analysing it. His research found that savoring is a distinct skill. You can enjoy a piece of music through the sensation of listening without layering on evaluation or context. And that mode of experiencing, the sensory one, is genuinely restorative in a way that analysis is not. Not everything needs decoding. Not every cultural moment requires your position. Sometimes a song is just a song. And letting it be just a song is not intellectual laziness. It's rest. Here's what I want to leave you with. You're not overthinking because you're broken. You're overthinking because you live in a culture that has turned analysis into a social ritual and rewards the people who do the most of it. And your brain, already wired for depth and pattern recognition, doesn't know when to clock off. Recognizing that some of your exhaustion is coming from outside you, not just from inside, changes the equation. It means you can start choosing which cultural moments deserve your cognitive energy and which ones you can simply enjoy. And if you want to understand what else your brain is doing with all that extra processing power, pick one of these videos showing on the screen. I think you'll recognize yourself in it. If this felt like something you needed to hear, the next one will too. Subscribe so it finds you. I'll see you there.